Banditos? What up? Your boy Tux here. Hey, I'm still catching my breath from how insanely fast this Bighorn build melts elites in the Division 2. Time to kill and straight up milliseconds. It's wild. I mean, I think this stat alone speaks for itself, along with this crazy armor. Look at the stat. That headshot damage is a quantity you would find on one of the strongest sniper builds. This is an assault rifle. I just steamrolled through the Capitol building stronghold on solo legendary to show you how powerful it is. So if you're sick of those grueling Division 2 missions where enemies just soak up all your bullets, imagine firing this thing up and absolutely wrecking everything, turning you into a total beast. Stick around, I'll walk you through this monster of a setup that'll level up your runs big time. Let's do this.
Wait, did we just become best friends? So nice to meet you. I think you're cool.
Piece of shit wristwatch.
You know, I don't even really like the Bighorn, but I had to do a build because new players are always seeking this weapon. So it's been a while since I've come out with a Bighorn build, so I thought I'd do a refresher here, and I'm just loving the build that I came up with. Now, I've actually created a similar build to this in the past, but it's working even better now, and I've made some changes because of what the modifiers bring to the table. And so I could honestly say this is the absolute best Bighorn build in the game, especially if you're a solo player or you want to run it in solo. Now, it does work in group. It really does. And I tested it there. The thing is, though, with the Bighorn, in my opinion, it's not the best long-range assault rifle. It wants you to play kind of close up and personal. It wants you to be aggressive. You don't necessarily have to be out of cover. You can play from cover, but it just doesn't do well from range. It's sort of got some handling issues. And it wants a lot of headshots. So the farther you're out, the worse your accuracy is going to be, right? We've managed that and are handling it. So if you're going to take this in group, that's great. Your time to kill is going to be amazing. I actually ran it in group and legendary, and I even took it in countdown, and it just slays in there too. The thing is, you just want to make sure you're sort of playing the tip of spear, which also means you can be attracting a lot of bullets. Good news, we got the armor and the bonus armor to handle that, including the resistance. Let's take a look at this warlock. Starting with the Bighorn, this is the exotic assault rifle that you can only get from legendaries. You can get it from the strongholds, or you could also farm the summit. And a lot of people have success farming the summit on floor 10, doing that whole kill the boss, rinse and repeat thing over and over again to get this. So if you don't have it, I recommend you do that. I did actually create this max mod video that explains how to rinse and repeat on floor 10. Although it's about max mods, just change your targeted loot to assault rifles and it's the same thing. So watch that video if you need the gist. This thing is interesting, and like I said, I don't actually like the Bighorn, but I guess I do now. The scope comes with 40% headshot damage, which is basically unheard of on an assault rifle. You got 20% stability, 20% accuracy, which apparently don't do shit for this weapon, and then 20% reload speed. It's actually got a decent reload speed. So it's based on the AUG. I am running a striker setup, so it's got a little bit elevated RPMs, and I have 42 rounds in the mag, which is low for an assault rifle. I do have expertise on this, I didn't realize, so keep that in mind. You're going to want to add as much as possible, but that is not what's driving the build. Trust me, you'll see why in a minute. I have damage to targets out of cover. It has health damage and a really good reload time. It's not naturally that low, it's a little bit higher, but it does have a really good reload for an assault rifle, and that's important because it needs to offset that really small mag. I've added enough weapon handling on the build to drive the reload down even faster, so it's a lightning fast reload. It's cool because you have lots of room on the build to be as creative as you want, because it's going to be really strong. Here's the deal. It's got 2 firing modes. So when you're in scope, you're basically like a sniper. So it's going to give you this 450% weapon damage with each shot, but it's semi-automatic. You don't really use this. If you want to pick off a target that's like running away, okay. Otherwise, you don't really use this. It's all about going full auto on the head, and that's what the second chunk of this paragraph explains. So headshots grant 6% headshot damage. Now, stacks up to 25 times. Once that full stacks, you're going to have this decay. So 10 stacks decay every 4 seconds until all stacks have been removed. Headshots delay the stacking. The assault rifle from the stacks is going to give you 150% headshot damage when you're at full stacks. The scope is giving you 40, so right there you're at 190% headshot damage. Now the thing about this assault rifle, the reason why I don't like it, and the reason why this build rocks all in one, is that it's all about headshots. So in order to get your buff, you need to land headshots. In order to maintain your buff, you need to land headshots. In order to use or benefit from the buff, you need to land headshots. So if you aim for anything else, why are you running this weapon? That's sort of my feeling on it. It is all headshots. If you're not landing headshots, you're not getting much out of this weapon. You might as well run something else. That's why I've never been a fan for it. That with the small mag and how poorly it handles and the fact that it doesn't work well at range, because you're always going for the head, is why I don't like this assault rifle a lot. But on this build, I love it. So what we've done is paired it up with Striker. I know, surprise, surprise, but you want to do that. First of all, you don't want to put it with Umbra or something like that, because Umbra is going to give it 40% RPM. Then you just lost control over your assault rifle. RPM is great for when you're landing shots, but that boosted RPM is also very painful when you're missing shots. Since you're going for the head a lot, you are going to be missing shots, and the higher your RPM, the more shots you miss per second. That just kind of puts you always in this reload situation. So Umbra's not great. So a little bit of RPM is awesome because the weapon is slow, but you don't want to overdo it. And so that's one of the reasons why we went with Striker. The other reason is because of the weapon handling. This thing needs it. It always has. Ever since they created this weapon, they've buffed it several times, and it still needs weapon handling. Try running it without weapon handling. Run it with weapon handling. It's up to you, but Striker is going to offset what we're doing here with the build, so we really want Striker on this one. Striker's gamble is giving us weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, so nice little amplified damage here, stacking up to 100 times. To your surprise, we're not running any crits on this build. We're going all in, baby. Headshot damage. So this is your formula. Armor, headshot damage, and then some protection from elites. Now, we didn't go all in on protection from elites because I took this into legendary and there's only so many elites in there, so I balanced it out just a little bit. Okay, so let's finish off the Striker pieces. So on the gloves, I went with weapon handling because we're gonna have a shit ton of headshot damage, like almost 300%. It's ridiculous. A little bit of weapon handling doesn't hurt. We're not playing into crit, so we didn't need that. I mean, what else do you have? We have headshot damage on the knees. You could also put more weapon handling. We didn't need to overdo it. Headshot damage on the holster. The chest is Hunter Killer. The Perfect Intimidate is amazing because we actually want to play around that 10-meter range because you're always going for the head, and that just seems to be the sweet spot for me. And so Intimidate works perfectly. You don't have to run Perfect Intimidate, but Perfect Intimidate does have the better damage because you have the buff to the quantity of stacks, but it's not a big deal. Look, when one of these bullets touches the enemy's dome, they're toast, man. So go with whatever you feel comfortable with here. I mean, you could probably even put Unbreakable if you really wanted to, or even the Striker chest piece, but there's a reason why Intimidate rocks. Okay, so it's building up that damage, which ends up being 40% total weapon damage. It's leaning on bonus armor for that to be activated. We're getting bonus armor from multiple sources. I've been playing a lot into bonus armor this season because we are being rewarded heavily for running armor cores. So I'm not just running armor because I like running armor. Armor is actually useless in this game unless you have something like bonus armor or really good armor regen or armor on kill. We have a little bit of everything. The backpack is our main source of bonus armor. It's giving us the 3 cores. So we're at 1.9 million. I got headshot damage here. You could probably put protection from elites. And we're going to get 30% weapon damage when we have all 30 trophies and some skill efficiency, which is helpful. But what I'm really playing into is the blue one. 10% bonus armor per blue core, 60% bonus armor, basically 1.2 million in bonus armor on a single kill. That's nuts. And those stacks, so 1.2, 2.4, so on and so forth. So you're rocking 5 million in total armor basically all times. It's nuts. And then you're going to have 3% armor regen. And that's my only source of heals. Look, I have no armor on kill because we have bonus armor on kill at 1.2 million. So I don't need actual armor on kill as long as I have something underneath that's somewhat slowly healing me. And 3% armor regen is good. So the bonus armor, and then we have armor regen. So that's what the backpack is about. You want to run the rock and roll. You want to kick off the fight with the rock and roll, or when you have lots of delays, or from the beginning of a checkpoint. It doesn't have to be this. It could be the regular ACS shotgun, but you're just building those Striker stacks so that you start off really strong with your checkpoints. And then I switch over to the Bighorn and start building all of those headshots. And Striker, for the most part, will maintain from there unless you have long pauses. All right, now let's look at the modifiers because this is a game changer this season. So we're playing into stamina, but we're not using our active modifier. It's in case of emergencies. So basically, this ties to the chest piece. So gain bonus armor for every 300,000 damage you take. And we're taking lots of damage because we're running solo legendary and solo heroic. it's going to give us back 3.5% of that damage into bonus armor when we're at tier 5. So you're going to kick off the fight at tier 4. So you need to get a few stamina kills under your belt, so the guys with the blue icons, and that'll push you to tier 5, probably 3 kills. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have bonus armor from your kills coming off of the memento trophies, and then bonus armor from your bonus armor taking damage. And so that bonus armor starts stacking on bonus armor, and it never goes away. So what ends up happening is you will have a 100% uptime on your chest piece talent Intimidate. And that's why we're choosing Intimidate, because none of the other options really make sense. You can run Obliterate, but you don't have any crits. You don't have very many crits. It still works because you're going to get Firearm crit chance plus 10%, and then the build has some sort of crit chance. What does it have? We have 12%, so you end up at like 22% crit chance, and you could add more if you wanted to push it up a little bit, but you don't need crits because we're going all for the head. So remember, headshot damage and crit hit damage is the same type of damage. In fact, they add together in the pool of damage. What happens here is if you're going for the head, it's like a guaranteed crit when it comes to power and how it plays out on your build. Except you don't need crit chance. It's the crit hit type of damage without the crit chance, making your build really efficient. And that's what I mean by you have a lot of room to actually explore on your build and add more utility. So you don't need this headshot damage. You can put on more weapon handling if you want to, or more armor regen or something, but I just didn't need anything. And you might be thinking, well, what happens when I'm not forced to shoot the head? Like on a warhound or a tank or some sort of piece of tech? Well, the answer is easy. This is still a striker build, so you have all of that amplified damage. You have the 30% weapon damage coming off of your backpack plus the red core, and you have the chest piece talent at 40% total weapon damage. Not to mention we have the 15% damage coming off of the shield. That might not sound like a lot, but it is. Everything is still in play. And if you want more armor on kill, then put on Palisades here and just run regular Intimidate. The damage, you're not going to miss the difference. Now for a nice burst in damage, I'm running Firewall, also because of the armor kits, really helpful for solo legendary. And then that's giving us the Striker shield. It's a tier 6 shield, very strong. But this is going to give us, what is it, 13% damage bonus per enemy standing in front of us. Plus an additional 4.6 million in armor on top of our bonus armor and our white armor. And then I run the decoy, very helpful for getting those pain in the ass mechs off your ass. So there's that, or for the right foamers. Okay, let's look at the other passive modifiers. These are important. So you want this one, the best kind of defense. So this is going to give you 2.5% headshot damage for every 100,000 total armor you have. So you need to be tier 3 in both firearms and stamina. So stamina, you're going to be golden right out of the gate. And then for firearms, you're going to need to earn that with probably about 4 or 5 kills. You're going to have a little bit started because of the memento, and it has a red core. That's good. This is going to toss more headshot damage on top of your headshot damage. So if your stacks start to deteriorate, you still have this really good base quantity of headshot damage. That's the concept here. And then I'm running multitasker because we're not using our active modifier that resets your tiers. You want to maintain your tiers. It's going to help you be basically tanky. So while at tier 5 and all attributes receive 7.5% weapon damage, so more of that, more max armor and a skill tier, extra padding, which is going to give you 5% protection from elites per blue core while at tier 5. So that's 30% more protection from elites, and I think we have 26 before that. Yeah, so you're going to be at 56% protection from elites. So you're not ultra immune, but you can take a lot of hits because of that bonus armor. In heroic content, cakewalk, baby. In legendary, you know, just keep moving. But you slaughter. So yeah, I have to use armor kits, and you know, I have to keep moving and pop my shield, and that's probably your most vulnerable point is your shield. So that thing can break. Keep an eye on it. If it breaks, you get dizzy, and then they pound on you, right? Be smart. Make sure you take out those critical targets, those drone operators, those healer stations. Man, I had a blast with this build. You don't have to use it solo legendary. You don't have to use it in legendary at all. It rocks in heroic. It'll play really well in group if you like being the tip of spear. Remember, that's because the assault rifle, the Bighorn, doesn't do well at range. It's going to put you in the front lines. So if that's your playstyle, this is your build. Catch you on the next one. Tux out. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm Tuxedo Bandido, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on the good stuff I have coming for you. And if you like content like this, be sure to check out the video I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you would like me to cover, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make things possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be the same without you.
When you buy a game from Ubisoft, enter the creator code Tuxedo Bandido to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Wait, Did we just become best friends?